Hi everyone, good start to a week this week. FFG have given us the Special Forces TIE Fighter reveal, so I'm just going to take a little bit of time, cover the cards that we know about, and just all the new stuff. So, jumping straight into it, we have the Zeta Specialist. We now have a points value for the Pilot Skill 3 entry level TIE SF. So, Pilot Skill 3, 2 attacks with an auxiliary arc, which obviously the selling point of both the Rebel and Imperial ships for this wave. It has Agility 2, 3 hull and 3 shields, so a pretty rugged platform there. Compares pretty well with B-Wings and the T-70 X-Wing integrated on a normal X-Wing, that kind of durability level. So it's a good beefy little ship. It doesn't have the evade action, which separates it from most of its TIE fightery brethren. It does have focus, target lock, and a barrel roll. And then on the action bar, we get the combination of tech and sensor, which is really interesting, and a missile slot. Missile slot is probably the one that I'm struggling to get ideas for the most. As you probably know by now, I like trying to give you some interesting builds and ideas and just off-the-wall stuff, not necessarily the powerful internet things that everyone focuses in on immediately, but just some ideas. We'll get to that all later on in the card. The other thing, before I move on to the two named pilots, I wanted to just briefly go back over special ops training. So it's the same as for the ARC 170, where we have the title that is 0 points and is non-unique, so obviously designed to be taken every time with the ship. If you don't take it, you're actually paying too many points for the ship because they are designed to have this title on them. It just saves space on the actual text box. You can't fit everything in this bit here. So, when attacking with your primary weapon from your primary firing arc, you may roll 1 additional attack die. So that makes it a 3 attack die ship when you're firing normally. So if you ignore the auxiliary arc, this is a 3 attack dice TIE fighter, which does bring it much more into line with the T-70. The base level T-70 being, let's just have a quick look. Yeah, so for a T-70 X-Wing Blue Squadron Novice, you're paying an extra point, but are getting 1 less pilot skill and a native boost instead of your barrel roll. So I think it compares really well across that. And we'll come on to a dial later on, but I think that's a decent level to sit at. And then additionally, if you do not add the attack dice, you may perform an additional attack from your auxiliary firing arc. So you've got a 23 point ship that can attack twice a turn if you can use it properly. I'm pretty pleased with that. I feel like the article itself says, and I'll link the article in the description at the bottom, but the article says that this is a ship that's only going to get better the more you use it, the more finesse and skill you get with flying this and using both of those arcs together. I remember in the initial Wave 9 preview article, it does show that if you can barrel roll or position correctly against a large base ship, you can actually do both shots from the primary and auxiliary arc on the same target because of relative base sizes. So there's some cheeky things you can do, and I find it pretty interesting. We'll go on to the two named pilots. Obviously, we've not had the middle tiered pilot spoiled yet, but it'll just be a generic. I believe it was pilot skill 5. I just have to pull it up again. Yeah, I believe it's pilot skill 5, so I'd imagine it's going to come in around about the 25 point mark. I feel like that would be about balanced within this release. I'm not saying that it's perfectly balanced. I know Bob, Major Juggler, will rip me apart if I say that it's too well balanced. But yeah, so yeah, pilot skill 5, the Omega something or other. But I feel like 25 points is probably where that's going to fit into this. It'll give you a nice 2-point increase all the way across the board, so should fit well. Then we come on to a pilot skill 7 backdraft, and this is when attacking a ship inside your auxiliary firing arc, you may add 1 crit result, and it also gets the EPT for 27 points at pilot skill 7. This is a little bit trickier because now you don't want to be concentrating on using the front arc. You're more focused on that auxiliary arc, so it's kind of like a CAF Scarlet, only more reliable because it always adds in that crit. Think of a targeting computed Vader, stuff like that, how useful having that guaranteed result added in can be. And with this guy, you can take PTL and then you get in target lock focus on that attack as well. So I think there's a lot of scope for some interesting flying with this guy. It's gonna be how do you describe it? It's gonna be really weird trying to make him work because you don't want to shoot past too quickly and isolate yourself and be an easy target, because as we'll see with a dial, it can get tricky to get out. But I think that there's a lot of scope to do some interesting things. And then the one that we had spoiled in the original article would be Quick Draw. Once per round, when you lose a shield token, you may perform a primary weapon attack. With 3 shields to spare, well, you can get some interesting fire coming out of her. You can do the electronic baffle and stress yourself, ditch stress to activate your own ability, fly over rocks and stuff like that, trying to trigger it. But I still think she, even without any of the tricks and we've spoke about previously and on the internet in general, I think that's a solid ability. Pilot skill 9, 29 points. It does get a little bit more expensive, especially if you're trying to replace a ship in a current build, right? If you're trying to take a ship out of pal paces to put quick draw in, it's not necessarily as easy, because this ship, to work properly, I think it's going to come in between the 32 to 39, 40 point level. But I still think there's a lot of value there. Now, the dial, I think, is very interesting. I've seen people already saying that the dial's terrible and stuff like that. If you're thinking of it as a TIE fighter, the dial's not very good. I think of it as a B-wing and how much use you get out of a B-wing, especially when you consider it's got the sensor swap for advanced sensors. I think this dial is fine. You still have the 1 forward and a 1 hard, so you become brilliant at knife fighting with advanced sensors. The 1 hards aren't costing you the action. You can get some really, really weird positionings with barrel rolling before you do the 1 hard, stuff like that, to make sure you're getting the auxiliary arc in. So there's some good fun tricks you can do. The 3 swoops are interesting. It doesn't have a normal K turn, which is the weakest thing for me on this ship. I still feel like the Star Viper suffers from the same thing. Not having a regular K turn is actually quite punishing. Other than that, the 2s are all available, all of the 3s are available, has a 4 forwards, and that's where it caps out. So one of the things I was thinking about is, obviously, as I said, advanced sensors can be really interesting, especially if you go on to one of the named pilots and PTL. There's enough decent green on there. The 1 banks for when you're in close that you can potentially barrel roll, get your focus, and then do your greens and clear it. So it leaves you open, and obviously you can still do 1 action and then the hard one or the swoop. But I don't think the dial's terrible. I don't think it's amazing. It definitely is not a punishing one dial, but there's a lot to work with on it, and if you're building around it, it can be really, really effective. Then we've already spoken about special ops training. Sensor cluster is a new tech. I believe you get 2 of these in the pack, and that is, while defending, you may spend a focus token to change one of your blank results to an evade result. So it's basically the opposite, with more defensive version of weapon guidance. Works in the same way. You spend a focus token to convert a blank to a positive result. I would say that sensor cluster is actually more valuable than weapon guidance, because I place the green dice above the red dice when it comes to modification. Anything that can get you out of jail on a green dice is more valuable than something that can help on a red die. That's just my opinion. That I always say, if you fluff your red dice, you can shoot them again next turn. If you fluff on the green dice, you're dead and the game's lost. So that's why I place this upgrade above weapon guidance. And at 2 points, I think it's reasonable. I would have liked to have seen weapon guidance maybe a bit cheaper, but sensor cluster at 2, I feel it's okay. If you've got the focus on defense, it basically gives you 1 guaranteed evade, no matter what, because you can't not roll a result that will give you at least 1 evade. So on your 2 dice, the worst you can do is double blank, and then one of them still evaded. So it's not the worst. And this card on other ships that have tech, I don't feel like the normal TIE-FO is going to still want comm relay. I feel that's a better defensive option. And the T-70 could use it. I feel like it's probably going to see more play than weapon guidance. Then the pack also comes with wired, which we saw in the Force Awakens core set. I'm not really going to cover that one, it's just it is in there. And then collision detector is the one I really wanted to wax lyrical about for a little while, just because of the 0 point sensor and what it actually does. So when performing a boost, barrel roll or decloak, your ship and maneuver template can overlap obstacles. When rolling for obstacle damage, ignore all critical results. So I really, really like this card. I feel like it's a massive buff to Phantoms. Being able to just decloak whichever direction you want to. You can decloak happening before the move, stuff like that. So you can clear your stress. So if you take this card on a Phantom, play with full debris clouds, it's impossible to suffer damage. You'll be decloaking before you move, so then if you've dialed in a green, you clear the stress that you've just gained. So you have an absolute Dash Render like open table to play across. And it's worth pointing out, when rolling for obstacle damage, ignore all crit results is not linked to it being a decloak, barrel roll or boost. That's a completely separate statement, so that will function even when you're just dialing moves in. So it makes it a lot easier to be able to fly over the obstacles without risk. And yeah, I'm really happy about this card. I'd throw it on anything that has an empty sensor slot at 0 points and just put it on there. You can only benefit. And yeah, am I going to put it on a Special Forces tie? If I take one in the list, there's probably other combos I'm going to be going for. The main one I'm liking at the moment, when I discussed Axia Corrector a few years ago, I remember there was no 2 dice ship that had a sensor slot, and how good it would be if they did. And obviously they brought out the X1 upgrade for TIE Advanced, which made it really efficient. Now you can put the Axia Corrector on the Zeta Specialist, have a 26 point ship that can have 100% accuracy out of a front and rear arc shot. So you're doubling the efficiency of axis corrector, which is already at its most optimal unless the Hawk somehow gets a sensor slot to convert its one attack into 2 hits. But yeah, I'm really happy with that. I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be difficult to say, take some practice to get full use out of it. Other combos I've already discussed, push the limits and advanced sensors, but you don't even necessarily need push. I feel like advanced sensors on a Zeta can work as well, just opening up your dial fully for any actions and still being able to do stuff. Unlike the Arc 170, I don't feel like there's as many synergies between the sensor and tech slot just yet, but the tech slot is new. I think with this release we're only up to 3 techs now, I think, something like that. Com relay, sensor cluster and weapon guidance, I think that's it. So as that swap becomes more and more prevalent, this combination is going to get better and better. So the Special Forces tie could be something that grows in power as the game evolves a little bit more. And as I said, the missiles at the moment I'm not really too bothered about. There's nothing that makes me want to be firing the missiles rather than the double attack or the 3 dice primary. Maybe if you want to quick draw into a fire control system to get your target lock focused attack, that could work. I mean, I don't know, it's going to be interesting. If you're jousting someone with quick draw, you could throw a missile on them. Maybe a concussion be just a nice simple one, or we'll go homing missile just for shits and giggles. But fire control system, homing missile, and then I don't know, anything, just leave it at that. I suppose you're already at 36 points. You get shot, you'll shoot them, get the fire control, have a focus, and then if they shoot you again, you know you get to use your quick draw ability to fire a missile at them. So just that kind of Dengar deterrent, it's always interesting. And anything else I think of? Nothing's jumping out at the moment. I've seen mixed reviews for this ship already. Some people saying it's the least interesting in the wave. Other people, like myself, seem quite happy with it. I think none of the ships in this wave so far have immediately jumped out and grabbed me and said this is going to be the new meta. I feel like there's less synergy in this ship than the Arc 170. I feel like the Astromech crew combination is currently stronger than the sensor tech combination, but that isn't to say that's always going to be the case. And as the Imperial playstyle is more likely to continue to be, having the ability to have just that pilot that can do a lot of different tricks, like a quick draw or a backdraft or even a correctly tooled generic in this, can really add a different kind of playstyle to your list. So definitely worth considering, and I'd rate it pretty highly. And I think it definitely needs a new take on your list rather than trying to just drop it into a pal paces. Any ideas you guys have got, just drop us any comments. Always happy for any feedback. And thanks again for watching. Make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you again soon. I'll try and get some more recordings done this week, but wanted to get this one out of the way first. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.